Hi David, I'm going to give you a quick run through of my Android Studio application. So it's a tuning application for a car, so you can enter in the car name, its modifications that you made, peak horsepower, peak torque, total cost, and 0 to 60 or the acceleration time after you've made the modifications. So if I view my database, I have no data in the database, so I will add some data and then I'll come back. So I've just added two cars to the database for view all. So I've added Audi R8, modifications made exhaust, BHP amount, the torque amount, the cost, 0 to 60 time, and then the same for an Audi A6. So my data is persisted using SQLite, so if I restart the application, if I go back into my database, the data is still here. So what I'll do now is I'll add another car. So I'll add a BMW, we'll say it's an M3. Modifications made. We've added a supercharger. Horsepower is at 500, our torque is at 600 foot-pounds of torque. We'll say it costs 3,500 and we'll say our 0 to 60 time is 4 seconds. So if I insert that value and I view all, there's the car we just added. So the BMW M3, supercharger, the horsepower and torque amount, the cost and the acceleration. So now I'll add another value. So we'll say we'll add a Lotus Exige. We've added a new exhaust. Horsepower is 250 or 350. We'll say our torque's 250. Our cost we'll say is 500. And a 0 to 60 time of 6 seconds. I'll insert that. And there's a lows. So what I'll do now is I'll update a value. So to update a value, I'll take the ID. So we'll update the Audi array up the top. So we'll do car ID. We'll say number 1. We'll change the name. Just call it R9 just for demonstration. Modifications. We have an exhaust, and we now have a turbo as well. Horsepower, let's just say it's up to 800. Torque, we'll say it's up to 700. Our cost has risen to 5,000 euros, and our 0 to 60 time we'll say is 3 seconds. So if I update that value, it's been updated successfully. If I view all, and the car ID number 1, so the name which we changed, that's been changed. The new modification which we've added is a turbo. Our horsepower has gone up, our torque's gone up, cost has also risen, and our acceleration then is still at 3 seconds. So if I want to delete a value, then what I can do is I can look at my database, say I want to remove car number 2, so we'll take out the Audi A6. So if I just do car ID number 2, and if I delete and I go view all, car's gone. What I can do then is I'll add another one, so I'll add the car back in. Modifications will say peak horsepower 500, peak torque will say 700, cost will say is 2,000, and a 0 to 60 time 5 seconds. Insert, and there's our new record. I can also share the application, so I'll just email it to myself just for demonstration. If I look, there's just an example of how you could share the app if you wanted to. So if I go back into my application, then I can view a database. So a database is just kind of a collection of cars, and it just summarizes kind of briefly kind of how the different car manufacturers came to be. So if I just press on Bentley, it'll pull the image through and it'll pull kind of some information through on the car. I tried to make a new scene for this, but I was having an issue with functions running in the background, so I've just overlaid it. I know it's not ideal, but it's just to kind of show it the functionality works. If I went into say Jaguar, image pops through, get some information on it as well, and then you just have a brief kind of overview here. I'll show say Nissan as well, image comes through, and kind of a brief description then of the manufacturer as well. So that's it for today. If there's any questions, just email and I'll get back to you as quick as I can. Thanks David.